Hello everyone, ARG back with some more franchise hockey manager 9. Today we have some more Hartford Whalers simulation made up hockey in 1983 as we are trying to continue our dominance of our division as we are first in our division, second in the conference. Today we're playing February of 1983, and those who have followed me a while know that February rhymes with contract signings, or contract extensions, I should say. So here we see all the players that I am willing to bring back, and then we'll talk just a little bit about them. So Paul Coffey, need I say more, one of my favorite players to ever play the game, so of course I'm going to extend him, not to mention that he's kind of OP, so hey. Randy Coneyworth, of course, he's only 21, so I am bringing him back, fully grown into 3 stars now. Hey Kel, what's up? I'm bringing back Matty Agman. He's having a good season, so maybe I'm being swayed there, or maybe I just have short-term vision and just see, what he's been doing lately. But he's having a good season, so why not bring him back? Now, Wilf Payment, that's interesting. So Wilf Payment is 27, and he asked, because as you know, I usually just ask what the players want and I just give it to them. I'm that nice, that easy. I also don't like to click on buttons to try to save $5 for half an hour. So Wilf Payment wanted a 7-year contract with a no trade clause. And I said yes. I decided to gamble. I'm going to gamble that Wilf Payment is going to continue to be a top player in this league for 7 more years. And I'm probably going to regret that decision in the future. So you can, or you may see me swear in French when that happens. Dave Poulin is coming back. Dave Poulin really starting to crank it up, so I really like that. Peter Stachny asked for a 6-year contract, and he got it. Brent Sutter, Darren Veitch, Claude Loisel is still really young, so I extended him, of course. And then Steve Thomas, kind of the same story. He's 19 as well, so kind of extended him. That leaves only a few players without a contract for next season that I am not going to bring back, and that's going to be. Oh wait, did I not then? Yeah, I did extend Anton Stachny, didn't I? Did I? Did I skip over Anton Stachny for real? I guess I did. Folks, always double check what the fuck you're doing. Oh my god, that would have been terrible. Right, Anton Stachny, you are also getting a contract extension. Let's see what you want. 4 years. I guess you don't want to play with your brother for the entire time. Alright, so Rick Aduono's not getting a contract extension. He's been alright. What do you mean you missed it? You missed what? So Rick Aduano is not getting a contract extension, so I'm putting him on the trading block. We'll see what happens. And same for Bernie Johnson. Everybody else. Oh, sorry, Denis Sia as well. Yeah, I had forgotten prior to this video or stream, I had forgotten to offer a contract extension to Anton Stachny. I had sent a contract. Yeah. So like I submitted contract extensions to everybody that I wanted to keep, but I somehow went over Anton Stachny, and Anton Stachny did not get a contract extension, and I caught it in time. So that's why I always watch what you're doing, because sometimes you get older and you forget shit. Right, so Anton Stachny will also be back. But he only wanted a 4-year contract. His brother a 6-year contract. Alright, so as I mentioned, we are second in the conference. So that's really good. Top of the division, even better. And Paul Coffey is about to come back, and he's our only injury. Oh, did I do the Team Harmony mandatory thing? Oh, it looks like I might have. Oh, no, I didn't. Alright, so let's Let's intervene here. Alright. We're almost done with all of those shenanigans until it comes back up. Don't we all wish there was a way to turn that crap off? I know that I sure hope that it was there. Alright, we are going to be playing in Quebec City against the Nordiques. First thing on February 1st. Nordiques are 25, 17, and 9. That's good for 6th in the conference. We are 2-0-1 against the Nordiques this season. Ooh, 1981 in the beginning of March. What's your record? How good are you doing? Are you gonna sweep the Abs in the playoffs? That would be beautiful. Alright. Sorry, just checking my stream, making sure that I don't have pixelated squares in my face, which probably would make me more beautiful. And let's go. All right. Oh, Marian Stashny's sitting this game. That's interesting. Alright, let's go. Let's beat the Nordiques. John Garrett is going to be in net for the Whalers. Michel Dion in net for the Nordiques. And of course, go Whalers, go. Let's start with a win on the road. It's always a good statement for the month when we can win that first road game. And a 5-2 victory. It's beautiful in Whalers country. Oh, nice. Yeah, sometimes a computer overvalues some players, and you can end up with, Steve Thomas on your team, or, a good player for a very marginal player. All right, so a 5-2 victory in Quebec for the Whalers here. We outshot the Nordiques 27-25. Anton Stashny was the first star of the game. He had 2 assists. Matty Agman was the second star of the game with a goal and an assist. And Tapio Levo, third star with a goal and an assist. So the Nordiques opened up the scoring in the first, then Tapio Levo scored from Rob Ramage and Brent Sutter 1-1 after 1. Then in the second period, Mark Messier scored from Tapio Levo and Peter Stashny, then the Nordiques tied the game, and then Darren Veitch scored from Anton Stashny and Matty Agman, 3-2 Whalers after 2. We had some good old-fashioned face punching over there in the second period. Oh, between Michel Goulet and Glenn Anderson, 2 mustachioed men going at each other there and punching each other. That's something. Then in the third period, Matty Agman scored from Bo Berglund and Anton Stashny, and then Brent Sutter scored his 10th from Ray Neufeld and Rick Aduono. It was a 5-2 Whalers victory. And then we are in Toronto the very next day, so that shouldn't take too long before we win again. Right, lots of news. Of course, most of them are about signing contracts. There was no stopping Wayne Babich in St. Louis. He had a hat trick against the Blackhawks. Then owner confidence thinks the season is successful. Keep a balance. We should be a contender next year. Finally, he's waking up. He's like, oh, maybe we have something on our hands here. The fans are thrilled. No need to worry about your job. All right. Paul Coffey close to returning. That's good. Paul Coffey 6 with Hartford. Oh yeah, 3-year extension for Paul Coffey. Alright, Randy Cunningworth signed. Well, they all signed. And we went through all of them, so I'm just going to press the button. Alright, so now we should be set. And the only players that I'm gonna let go are those 3. Now, keep in mind, I don't have a whole lot of contracts signed, so, it's okay to let a few players go, but I do need to retain quite a few. In 1983, it's almost impossible to fill your team up with free agents. The free agency worked differently back then. The teams were holding on to rights of players until they were 73 or something, so it's a lot harder to sign a free, be oh yeah, well, I'll just get a third line left winger in free agency and I'll be set. It's a lot harder to do that. So All right, we are in Toronto to play the Leafs. Leafs are 20, 23, and 7. And we are 0-1 against the Leafs this season. Lost 5-4 in Toronto. We're in Toronto again. Oh, we're going to play them in 2 weeks at home. All right, so let's get revenge here. That's going to be Jim Martinson in net for us and Rob Holland in net for Toronto. Yeah, it's very hard to sign free agents. You have to you have to catch like the ones that are coming out of college or showing up in Europe or something. A lot harder. All right, go Whalers go. Another win, a 6-4 victory over the Leafs in Toronto. We outshot them 44-26. Wilf Payment with his brand new 7-year ironclad no-trade clause contract. First star with 2 goals and 2 assists. Darryl Sittler was the second star with 2 goals, and Brent Sutter was the third star with a goal and 2 assists. Wolf Payment opened up the scoring in the first from Greg Teberge and Brent Sutter. Then the Leafs tied the game, but then Brent Sutter scored from Wolf Payment and Anton Stastny 2-1 Hartford after 1. Leafs would tie the game in the second period, then Glenn Anderson scored from Matty Agman and Mark Macy, 3-2 Hartford there after 2. Then in the third period, Anton Stastny scored his 20th from Wilf Payment and Gordy Roberts, made it 4-2. Then the Leafs scored, it was 4-3, we scored, Wilf Payment scored his 20th from Jay Wells and Brent Sutter, then the Leafs scored again, it was 5-4, and then finally Glenn Anderson ended the debate in an empty net with 4 seconds left to go in the third period. It was assisted by Greg Teberge and Bernie Johnston. 6-4 Hartford, the final score. Randy Cunnyward and Gordy Roberts got hurt in this game. We'll see how bad it is. Alright, Cunningworth is day-to-day, Gordy Roberts is 1 to 2 weeks, but Paul Coffey comes back. So Gordy Roberts goes on the injured reserve, Paul Coffey comes back in the lineup. That's what's going to happen. It says it's a day-to-day injury, but it says 1 to 2 weeks, so we're going to make him go. Lenny McDonald extends his point streak to 14 games against us. He had a goal and an assist. And those players are more acclimated to their team, and Paul Coffey is ready to come back. Hopefully he gets to not be hurt again. Alright, 2 days off, and then we're going to be in Boston to play the Bruins. Right, Brian Maxwell has been put on waivers by the Jets. Good game for Brad Maxwell. Wait, what? Right, Brad Maxwell in Minnesota had a goal and 4 assists. Oh, it's Brian. Oh, God. Okay. Oof. All right. A goal and 4 assists for Brad Maxwell with the North Stars against the Capitals. And then there's been a trade. Oh, Rick Bonus. Rick Bonus goes to Toronto for Jamel. Right, so it's Brian Maxwell that's been put on waivers. I got confused for a second. Alright, so Marc Tardy has been put on the block by the Nordiques. Now, Kell in his save got rid of him already. He's still with the Nordiques in my save. Alright, and we're in Boston to play against the Bruins. Bruins are 21, 24, and 7. That is good for 9th in the conference. They're not doing too good there in Boston. We are 2-2 against them this season. Let's get a winning record. John Garrett is in net for the Whalers. Petty Lindbergh is in net for Boston. And of course, go Whalers, go! Oh, we lost on the road 7-5 at Boston Garden. It's the small rink, I'm telling you. It's the small rink. We played scared all game. Lost 7-5. We were outshot 39-37 in that one. Ray Bork was the first star of the game. He had a goal and an assist. Paul Coffey celebrated his return with a goal and an assist as well. And the second star, and FJ's ever favorite, Mike Krushelinski, was a third star with a goal and an assist. I'm telling you, he's missing all of the Mike Krushelinski love. Bo Berglund opened up the scoring in the first. It was his fifth of the season from Darren Veitch and Jay Wells. Then Boston scored 3 times, but we managed to tie the game. Anton Stachny from Matty Agman and Rob Ramage, and then Paul Coffey from Rick Edwano and Dave Poulin. 3-3 after 1. And there was a fight between Graham Nicholson and Paul Coffey. Paul, you need to watch it, man. You've been hurt all season. Then in the second period, Dave Poulin scored from Rick Edwano and Paul Coffey. Then Boston tied the game, and then Wilf Payment scored from Peter Stachny and Mark Messier. It was 5-4 Hartford, but Boston tied the game before the end of the period. It was tied at 5 after 2. Then in the third period, Boston scored twice, including an empty netter, and we lost 7-5. Well, Paul Coffey, if you go look at Paul Coffey's stats in real life, he wasn't a soft player at all. A lot of people have that misconception about Paul Coffey because he was such a great offensive defenseman, and the great offensive defensemen that we think about nowadays, they just don't fight. So we kind of have that projection that, well, Paul Coffey probably wasn't fighting, but that's not true. Actually, Paul Coffey has 9 Gordie Howe hat-tricks in his career, so that means that it happened 9 times that Paul Coffey scored a goal, got an assist, and got into a fight in the same game. So, yeah. He does fight a lot, so I wish he would fight less. Yeah, I don't think so. His ratings are too good for that. Kent Nilsson has been put, not put anywhere, but he's hurt. He's day to day. Bobby Smith extends his assist streak to 8 games for Minnesota. He had an assist against the Islanders. Strong game for Phil Russell. For a second there, my eyes read Phil Kessel. I was like, what the heck? Strong game for Phil Russell with the Nordiques. He had a goal and 4 assists against the Sabres. Lanny McDonald's point streak ended at 14 games. It was held scoreless against the Canucks. Randy Cunninworth is starting to feel better. Oh, there's been a trade between the Kings and the Red Wings. Ted Nolan for Tom Williams. Not a big trade. Oh, the All-Star game. Mark Messier is going to be there. That's our only representative, is going to be Mark Messier. Alright, well, we have 3 days off. I believe that's because the All-Star game is happening. Randy Cunninworth might be coming back soon. That'd be great. Alright, let's see here. Joe Contini, Kim Claxon, and Jamel have been put on waivers. The Campbell Conference defeat the Wales Conference 4-0. Oh my god, we didn't even score a goal. And Mark Messier was a -2 in that game. Alright, 1 day off, and then we're going to be at home to play against the Red Wings. Alright, Red Wings are in town. They are 13-33-9. That's no bueno for them. However, we did lose 4-1 against them this season. We are 0-1 against them. So hopefully we can beat them this time. Régent Lemelin is going to be in net for Detroit. John Garrett in net for the Whalers. All right, let's bounce back after that loss that happened before the All-Star game. A 7-6 win, so a A little close for comfort, but it's a win. So 7-6 the victory. We outshot Detroit 34-29 in that one. Wolf Payment was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals and 2 assists. John Ogrodnik was the second star with 3 goals and 2 assists, and Paul Coffey was the third star with 2 goals and an assist. 8,731 people in attendance for this game. Alright, so Paul Coffey scored the first 2 goals of the game. The first one from Wolf Payment and Rick Aduano. Second one was his 5th of the season from Rick Aduano and Bo Berglund. 2-0 Hartford at that point. Then Detroit scored 3 goals before the end of the period. We were down 3-2 after 1. In the second period, the Wings scored 2 more goals. They were up 5-2. Then we scored 2 of our own. Matty Agman from Wolf Payment and Mark Messier. Then Wolf Payment from Brent Sutter and Paul Coffey. 5-4 Detroit after 2. Then in the third period, Greg Teberge scored his 5th of the season from Bo Berglund and Rick Aduano. Then Wolf Payment from Mark Messier and Peter Stastny. Then Rob Ramage from Bo Berglund. We were up 7-5. John Ogrodnik scored with 1 minute and 4 seconds left to go in the third period. Gave the Red Wings fans some hope, but the Wings came up short. 7-6 the win for the Whalers. Tapio Levo is hurt. Oh. It's an elbow sprain, likely duration. Nah, I'm not gonna do his treatment. Alright. We're gonna put him on the injured reserve. We're gonna do the right thing. There was no stopping John Ogrodnik, as we saw in that game. He had 3 goals and 2 assists. Alright, let's see. We have 3 days off here before we play the Islanders. We'll see where we're at with our roster at that point. Bill Derlago has a memorable game. He had 4 assists for the Canucks against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Right, big game for Dino Ciccarelli. He had a hat-trick against the Rangers. Dino Ciccarelli with that extended his goal streak to 5 games. Bobby Smith extends his assist streak to 9 games. In that same game, he had 3 assists. And Randy Kennyworth is ready to come back to action. 1 more day off before we play the Islanders. Alright, so Rob McClanahan has been put on waivers by the Oilers, as well as Eddie Mio from the Leafs. Could Mike Fiddler be traded? He is in Winnipeg and he has been put on the block. Then there's been a trade. Eddie Mio, went to Toronto for Bill Nyrup, and then Eddie Mio's been put on waivers right away. That's why it wasn't in Edmonton. Okay, alright, so we're going to need to put Tapio Levo on the injured list. And we're going to need to recall probably Bill Kitchen until Gordy Roberts come back. Is Bill Kitchen still able to play in the NHL despite his half-star talent? He is, barely, but he is. He's able to play defensively a little bit, so that's why I hold on to him. All right, we're gonna be playing the Islanders on their own ice. Islanders are 35, 14, and 8. That's good for 3rd in the conference, and we are 2-0 against the Islanders this season. We are undefeated. I'm not sure that this is going to continue, but hey. John Garrett's going to be in net for us. Roland Melançon in net for the Islanders. And of course, go Whalers go. Tough game. Yeah, we lost 4-1. It was maybe to be expected. Islanders are probably upset they haven't been able to beat us this year. So, a 4-1 loss. We outshot them 35-34. Stefan Persson was the first star of the game. He had a goal and an assist. Roland Melanson was the second star with 34 saves and the W. And Ristolainen was the third star with a goal. So Islanders scored first in the first period, then in the second period they scored two more, they were up 3-0, then Matty Agman scored from Anton Stastny and Glenn Anderson. It was 3-1 Islanders after two. They added one more goal in an empty net at the end of the third period, and we lost 4-1. Not a whole lot to talk about here. For once our offense was stifled, we scored a lot of goals, but Tino Cicerelli extends his point streak to 12 games with 2 assists against the Blackhawks. And Bobby Smith's assist streak ended at 9 games. He did get a goal, but no assist from him in that same game. Alright, so now Toronto is in town. They are now 21, 24, and 8. We are 1-1 against the Leafs. I would demand a win at home against them. There, I am making demands. Mike Palmetier is going to be in net for Toronto. Jim Martinson in net for us. And, of course, go Hartford, go. We lost 6-3. We are a little bit in a rough patch right now. We outshot Toronto 39-33. Lanny McDonald was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals and 2 assists. Ron Wilson was the second star with 2 assists. And Tom Lydla was the third star with an assist. 8,590 people in attendance for the game. Toronto scored twice in the first period. They were up 2-0. We had a fight between Wolf Payment and Bernie Nichols. Then in the second period, Bo Berglund scored from Peter Stastny and Randy Connywort. It was 2-1 Toronto. They added 2 goals. It was 4-1. And then Greg Teberge scored from Peter Stastny and Bo Berglund. It was 4-2 Toronto after 2. Then they scored 2 more goals in the third period. They were up 6-2. We did score a goal. Matty Agman from Mark Macy and Rob Ramage. We had about 9 minutes left to go, but we couldn't tie the game. And we lost. Bill Kitchen and Ron Wilson also got into a scrap in the third period. So we have lost 3 of our last 4 games. That's not good. Bengt Gustafsson has a great game. He had 3 goals and an assist against the Jets. Willie Lindstrom has a strong game in that same game. He had 3 goals and an assist as well, and that was 5 straight games with a goal for him. And Gordy Roberts is starting to feel better. Barry Dean has been put on waivers by the Oilers. Perry Turnbull has a good game. He had a hat-trick against the Buffalo Sabres. Oh, Sil Apps might retire after this season. He is playing in LA. He is 35 years old and a 2.5-star player. Gordy Roberts almost back. Alright, so Lyle Fair has been traded to Philadelphia for Barry Dean, and that's how Barry Dean was put on waivers right after being traded for. Right, we are now hosting the LA Kings. They are 10, 36, and 10. That's not very good, as you can imagine. And we are 2-0 against them this season. Sounds like the perfect team to face to bounce back, right? But sometimes those games are called trap games. You go in and you think it's going to be easy, and then you end up losing. Right, Kitty Rudy is going to be in net for the Kings. John Garrett is going to be in net for the Whalers. Come on, Whalers. Let's bounce back here. A nice 7-0 win. All right, John Garrett with the shutout here. We outshot the Kings 33-21. Wilf Payment was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals and 4 assists. Peter Stastny was the second star with 2 goals and 3 assists. And Mark Macy was the third star with a goal and 2 assists. 9,147 people in attendance for this game. Wilf Payment is having a really good month so far. So I don't know that he's going to be the player of the month, but I know that he's padding his point totals, and that makes me look great for extending him. Now, in 5 years, we're probably not going to have that discussion. But right now, I can say, fuck yeah. Alright, so Mark Macy opened up the scoring in the first from Wolf Payment and Peter Stastny. Then Matty Agman scored his 20th on the power play from Darren Veitch and Wolf Payment. Then Wolf Payment again. No, that's his first of the game. Sorry, from Mark Messier and Peter Stastny, and then Peter Stastny from Mark Messier and Wolf Payment. 4-0 Hartford after one. Wolf Payment with 4 points in one period already. Then in the second period, Matty Hagman scored from Anton Stastny and Glenn Anderson. Then Peter Stastny from Wolf Payment and Darren Veitch, 6-0 Hartford after two. And then in the third period, Wolf Payment scored his 25th of the season from Tommy Samuelson and Peter Stastny. We have a 7-0 victory. That is beautiful. Good game for Wolf Payment, as we saw 2 goals and 4 assists. That's pretty good. Zino Cicerelli extends his point streak to 13 games with 2 assists against the Devils. Ooh, so you got Keith Acton. Now you're building a powerhouse there. Gordy Roberts should be coming back soon. Yeah, you're building a powerhouse. You need to do that other challenge I told you, like winning the cup while limiting yourself to K, T, and B. Let's see how you do with that. I'm just giving you shit. I'm glad you're doing well. Alright, we have a day off, and then we're gonna host the Montreal Canadiens. Rick Middleton has produced 300 goals in his career. He had a goal and 2 assists against the Buffalo Sabres. Rick Middleton is 29, and he is a 4.5-star player. Mike Gartner lights the lamp. He had a hat-trick against the Rangers. And Gordy Roberts is completely back. Now, let's see if I can get him back, or if he has to wait. He can come back. Welcome back, my friend. We're gonna send Bill Kitchen back down. Alright, Montreal Canadiens are in town. They are 32-20-6. That's good for 4th in the conference. They are looking to win some games so that they can get the top of the division, which they probably believe belongs to them, because Montreal Canadiens and their fans seem to have delusions of grandeur a lot. So we are 3-2-1 against the Abs this season. I would love to make it 4-2-1. We're getting Gordy Roberts back. Pat Regan is going to be in net for Montreal. John Garrett is going to be in net for Hartford. Come on, Whalers. 8-3 victory. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's fun. It's a very fun way to play. Very limiting, but fun way to play for sure. I had a lot of fun with it last year. With my LA Kings run, definitely like makes you go for players that maybe you wouldn't go for all the time. But anyway, all right. So we won 8-3. Oh, look at that! We outshot Montreal 40-19. The big, intimidating Montreal Canadian team is no more. Paul Coffey was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals and 2 assists. Matty Hagman was the second star of the game, 2 goals and 2 assists as well. And Anton Stastny was the third star with 3 assists. 9,545 people in attendance for this game. All right, the first period had 1 million goals scored. And that's going to be a little tough on the speaking, the throat, and everything. So please bear with me. Montreal scored first, then we scored 3 goals. Gordy Roberts from Brent Sutter and Marian Stastny, then Mark Messier from Rob Ramage and Peter Stastny, and then Paul Coffey from Marian Stastny and Anton Stastny. 3-1 Hartford at that point. Then Montreal tied the game, but we scored 3 more goals. Glenn Anderson from Jay Wells and Matty Hagman, then Dave Poulin from Randy Coneyworth, and finally Matty Hagman from Anton Stastny and Paul Coffey. 6-3 Hartford after 1. Gordy Roberts and Boris Salming got into a fight as well. Second period, nobody scored, but people did fight. Rob Ramage and Mario Faubert went at it. And then we added 2 more goals in the third period. Paul Coffey scored on the power play from Darren Veitch and Matty Hagman, and then Matty Hagman from Anton Stastny and Paul Coffey. 8-3 the final score. Yes, you do. You sure do. You will. You won't have a choice. And it might be that in the draft you're like, oh my god, I really want this player, but I can't get him. Now I have to settle for this one instead. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and... Alright, so Rick Bowness has been put on waivers by Toronto. Matty Agman extends his goal streak to 5 games with his 2 goals and 2 assists performance. Memorable night for Dino Ciccarelli in Minnesota. He had 3 goals and 3 assists against the Nordiques. Dino Ciccarelli extends his point streak to 14 games with that performance. Bobby Smith extends his point streak to 12 games with 3 assists in that same game. Oh, Pittsburgh is thinking about changing their coach. Phil Maloney is the coach right now, but Pittsburgh is 15, 37, and 8. So they're thinking about maybe changing that. Pat Boutet extends his goal streak to 5 games with Toronto. He had a goal against the Blues. And we have a trade proposal from the LA Kings, who are offering us Glenn Damota for Stuart Smith. I'm gonna say no thank you. Alright, we have a day off and then we're gonna be hosting the Chicago Blackhawks. Passes on point for Alain Lemieux with the Jets. He had 4 assists against the Boston Bruins. No one could stop Morris Lukovic with the Jets. He had 3 goals in that same game. Al Seckert extends his goal streak to 5 games in that same game with a goal. And Rick Dudley has been put on the trading block. Right, Blackhawks are in town. They are 31, 23, and 6. That's not too bad, but we are 2-0 against Chicago this season, so hopefully we can make it a perfect 3-0. I would love that. Tony Esposito is going to be in net for Chicago. John Garrett is going to be in net for us. And of course, go Whalers go. Tony Esposito is old. Let's make him move, and he's going to get tired. It's a 3-3 tie against the Blackhawks. We were outshot 31-30 in that one. Matty Agman was the first out of the game. 2 more goals, and his streak continues. Tom Lysak was the second star with a goal and an assist, and Glenn Anderson was the third star with an assist. 9,409 people in attendance for the game. Chicago scored 2 goals in the first period. Then Wolf Payment scored from Mark Macy and Peter Stastny. It was 2-1 Chicago after 1. Then we scored twice in the second period. Matty Agman from Rob Ramage and Paul Coffey. And then Matty Agman again is 25th of the season from Gordy Roberts and Glenn Anderson. 3-2 Hartford after 2. Sadly, we could not hold on to that 1-goal lead. Tom Lysak scored in the third period to tie the game, and that held. So we have a tie. Alright, so Danny Bolduc has been put on waivers, and Gaston Gingras as well. Matty Agman extends his goal streak to 6 games. As we saw, he scored 2 goals. Dino Ciccarelli extends his point streak to 15 games with 2 goals of his own against the Bruins. Bobby Smith's point streak ended at 12 games. He was held scoreless. Ian Turnbull extends his assist streak to 8 games with an assist against the Rangers. Pat Boutet extends his point streak to 12 games with 2 assists against the Flames. Ron Wilson has a great game in that same game for the Leafs. He had 3 goals and an assist. And whoa, what we have here? A little trade that was hidden in my emails there. Actually, that's a pretty big trade. Daryl Sittler has been traded to the Islanders along with Paul Gardner for Roland Melançon and a second-round draft pick. Oh, the Islanders getting better. Whew, that's a move for the playoffs right there. They still have Billy Smith to play in net, so it's not like they end up with nobody to play in net. That's a big trade. That's why they've put those players on waivers. They don't need them anymore. They got Daryl Sittler and Paul Garner. I mean, he's not garbage. Wow. Alright, so we're in Detroit to play against the Red Wings. Red Wings are now 14, 36, and 9, and we are 1-1 against the Wings this season. Jim Martinson is going to be in net for us. Al Jensen is going to be in net for the Red Wings, our former goaltender. Of course, go Whalers go. It's a 7-7 tie. Oh. Who cares about defense? Alright, so we were outshot 36-32 in that one. Reed Larson was the first star of the game. He had 3 goals and an assist. Mark Messier was the second star with 2 goals and 2 assists. And Dale McCourt was the third star with 2 goals and 2 assists as well. Detroit scored first, then Matty Agman scored again from Marian Stastny and Gordy Roberts. Then Detroit scored and Mark Messier scored on the power play from Paul Coffey and Matty Agman. Then Detroit scored again. It was 3-2 Detroit after 1. Then in the second period, we took the lead. Paul Coffey scored on the power play from Matty Agman and Wilf Payment. Then Darren Veitch on the power play as well from Matty Agman and Wilf Payment. It was 4-3 Hartford, then Detroit tied the game. It was 4-4 after 2. Then in the third period, Detroit scored 2 goals. Then Mark Messier scored his 25th from Darren Veitch and Gordy Roberts. Then Detroit scored again. It was 7-5. But in the last minute and 10 seconds of the game, Rob Ramage scored on the power play from Peter Stastny and Mark Messier. And then Dave Poulin scored his 20th of the season on the power play from Rick Aduano and Mark Messier. It was 7-7, and that held. Matty Agman extended his goal streak to 7 games with a goal and 3 assists in that game. Reed Larson has a strong game. He had 3 goals and an assist, as we saw. There was no stopping Wayne Gretzky. He had a hat-trick against the Buffalo Sabres. Ian Turnbull's assist streak ended at 8 games. He did not get a point against the Devils. And red light stays on for Rick Vive in Vancouver. He had 3 goals and an assist against the Kings. Alright, we have a couple days off, and then we're going to be at Madison Square Garden to play against the Rangers. Jim Warner has been put on waivers by the Oilers. Oh, I guess they got him in the trade with the Sabres. Pat Boutette's point streak ended at 12 games. He was held scoreless against Pittsburgh. And yeah, Jim Warner for Stefan Buttery. Alright, we're going to go ahead and continue here. Zeno Cicerelli extends his point streak to 16 games with 2 goals and an assist against the Red Wings. Brad Park has produced 900 points in his career. He had an assist against the LA Kings. Brad Park is 34 years old. He's still a 4-star player. No one could stop Bill Derlago. He had 3 goals and an assist against the St. Louis Blues. Then there was a trade between Philadelphia and LA. John Paddock for Glenn Damota. Oh, so the Kings are not offering me Glenn Damota for Stuart Smith this time. No, instead they're offering me Mark Morost again. Oh, we haven't seen him in a couple days. There you go. Alright. We're rejecting that like we did the last million times. Alright, I'm getting nervous. I'm going to go ahead and save my game. I don't want for the game to crash on me again. Alright, we are in New York to play the Rangers. They are 20, 27, and 13. That's good for 9th in the conference. We are 1-1 against the Rangers. Let's see if we can beat them. John Garrett in net for us. Don Edwards in net for the Rangers. Go Whalers, go. Oh, a 6-2 loss. That's not good. We had a bad game in the system, I guess. We were outshot 33-26. Don Maloney was the first star of the game. He had 3 assists. Larry Murphy was the... Whoa. Okay, I don't know if it's Don or Dave that was the first star. Okay, so One of the Maloneys was a first star with 3 assists. Larry Murphy was the second star with a goal and an assist, and the other Maloney was the third star with a goal and 2 assists, and I'm not going to go and count in the box score to figure it out. So Rangers scored 6 unanswered goals in the first period, and that was the game right there. We had some fighting as well. Larry Murphy and Randy Cunneyworth, then Stan Jonathan and Paul Coffey. Then in the third period, nobody scored in the second. Then in the third period, Bo Berglund scored from Dave Poulin and Randy Cunneyworth, and then Bernie Johnston from Rick Aduano and Darren Veitch. And just like that, Matty Agman's goal streak is over. Oh, there was another fight between Anders Edberg and Rob Ramage. Brian Trottier has recorded 500 assists in his career. He had a goal and an assist against the Chicago Blackhawks. Brian Trottier is 26 years old and he is a 4.5-star player. Zino Cicarelli extends his point streak to 17 games. He had an assist against the Leafs. No one could stop Greg Malone in Pittsburgh. He had 3 goals and an assist in that same game. And there was a trade between the Red Wings and the Kings again. Mike Moffat for Grant Sasser. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and advance one day. Tom Webster has been put on waivers by the Oilers. I think they just got him from the Red Wings in that trade we see there. So the Oilers have done that, 3 times just this month, where they made a trade and then dropped the guy that they got on from the trade on waivers. No additional missed time for Detroit's Tom Williams, so he's not going to be suspended. There was no stopping Barry Beck. He had a hat trick against the Red Wings in that same game. Phil Maloney runs out of rope. Oh, he was fired finally, and he's replaced by Pat Quinn. New Jersey might reinstate the Team Kangaroo Court, so that's going to be Wayne Stevenson. He's 38, so he's the one that's going to catch somebody stepping on the logo here in a few days. Right, and Tom Webster went to Edmonton for Dale Krantz, and then Webster's been put straight on waivers, as in customary from Edmonton. We're in Winnipeg to play the Jets. They are 15, 38, and 10. That's really not very good. We are 2-0 against the Jets. I would love to win this game. We've had kind of a so-so month. John Garrett is going to be in net for us. Grant Fuhr in net for the Jets. And of course, go Whalers go. 7-5 win. We outshot the Winnipeg Jets 51-26. Gordy Roberts was the first star of the game. He had 2 assists. Ilya Sinisalo was the second star with 3 goals. Darren Veitch was the third star with 2 goals. So Darren Veitch opened up the scoring in the first. That was a power play goal from Mark Messier and Wolf Payment. Then the Jets tied the game, and then Brent Sutter scored from Gordy Roberts and Bo Berglund. 2-1 Hartford after 1. Then in the second period, the Jets tied the game. Then Peter Stastny scored his 25th from Wolf Payment and Mark Messier. Then the Jets scored. Then Dave Poulin scored from Ray Neufeld and Paul Coffey. Then the Jets scored again. 4-4 after 2. We had a fight between Dave Oida and Mark Messier. And then Scott Stevens and Paul Coffey. Then in the third period, the Jets took the lead. It was 5-4 Winnipeg, but then we scored 3 unanswered goals. Darren Veitch on the power play from Wolf Payment and Matty Agman. Then Rob Ramage from Rick Aduano and Paul Coffey. And then finally Peter Stastny in an empty net from Mark Messier and Gordy Roberts. 7-5, the final score. I feel like my voice is about to leave my body forever. Ooh, Anton Stastny is hurt. I don't like to see that. He's hurt for 1 to 2 weeks. I'm not too thrilled, but it's not too long, I guess. Ilka Sinisalo keeps fans on their feet all night. As we say, he had a hat-trick. Tapio Levo is starting to skate again. Randy Mainray is on the block in LA. And then there was a trade between Buffalo and LA. Fourth round draft pick for Bert Wilson. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and send you to the injured list. And we're gonna recall somebody. We're going to recall Newberry. We're going to reward him for having a great record in the AHL. I don't think he can play at the NHL level, can he? Oh shit, no he can't. Can barely open the door. Alright, that's fine. He's probably not going to play much anyway. Alright, we have a day off and then we're going to be playing the last game of February against the Bruins. Alright, so Zeno Cicerelli extends his point streak to 18 games. He had an assist against the Blackhawks. Suspension for Gord Lane in Montreal. He's going to miss 6 games. Dale McCourt extends his assist streak to 8 games. He had a goal and an assist against the Islanders. Mike Bullard has a memorable game. He had 4 assists against the Devils. Lucien Deblois has a great game. He had a hat-trick against the Nordiques. In that same game, Michel Goulet had a goal and 4 assists. And still in that same game, Peter Lee with a hat-trick. We are reportedly shopping Rick Adorno, so we'll see if somebody is coming to try to get him. George Lyle has been put on the block. Why is George Lyle showing... Oh, okay. That's why. Alright, so we got an email that said, oh, George Lyle has been put on the block, and then he got traded right after to Philadelphia, which is why he was showing with the Flyers jersey. So George Lyle traded to Philadelphia for Colin Campbell. Then a trade proposal from the Red Wings, Tom Hirsch for Bernie Johnson. Oh, let me take a look. Yeah, I don't think so. Oh, man. Maybe. I'm gonna reject that. But I thought about it for a second. Alright, then the trade deadline is nearing. Alright, so Boston in town for the last game of the month. They are 24, 29, and 8. That's good for 8 in the conference. They climbed a tiny bit. We are now 2-3 against the Bruins this season. So despite their bad record, it's a team we are struggling against. And we have to do it without Anton Stastny. Oh, John Newberry is going to play. Look at him. Good for him. Petty Lindbergh is going to be in net for Boston. John Garrett in net for us. And of course, go Whalers, go. It's a 4-4 tie. I'll take the point, I guess. Oh, we were outshot 38-29. Not a great game for us. Wolf Payment was the first star of the game. He had 2 assists. Bob Miller was the second star with 3 assists, and Peter Stastny was the third star with a goal and an assist. 9,880 people in attendance for the game. Boston scored the first goal of the game. Then Peter Stastny scored from Mark Messier and Wolf Payment. Then Boston scored and Paul Coffey scored on a power play from Wolf Payment and Mark Messier. It was 2-2. Then Boston scored. It was 3-2 Boston after 1. Randy Collingworth got into a fight with Tom Rowe. Then in the second period, Boston made it 4-2. Then Matty Agman scored from Peter Stastny. It was 4-3 Boston after 2. And then in the third period, Gordy Roberts scored on the power play unassisted to tie the game at 4 goals apiece. And we had a fight between Jay Wells and Al Seckard. Right, Dino Ciccarelli extends his point streak to 19 games. He had an assist against Chicago. Dale McCourt's assist streak ended at 8 games. He was held scoreless against the Habs. Big game for Wayne Gretzky. He had a hat trick against the Jets. February scouting, don't care. Oh, Rob Ramage got a minor injury. Oh, Bill Clement has been put on the block by the Oilers. Steve Vickers have been put on the block as well, which, you know, the Rangers have been trying to trade Steve Vickers since I started the series. Washington wants to move Gary Edwards. Yeah, despite what this says here, I am not interested. And there was a trade between Edmonton and LA. Steve Carlson goes to Edmonton for a 4th round draft pick. So it looks like the Kings are trading players for draft picks, which is what they should be doing because they have a really shit record. So that is behaving like it should right now. Alright, we are February 28th. I need to click one more time. Rob Ramage is hurt. We're good. We're good. We're not gonna worry about it. Top-selling Hartford Whalers jerseys for February. Wolf Payment, Peter Stastny, Paul Coffey, Anton Stastny, and Darren Veitch. Alright, development report. Oh, Matty Agman is losing speed. Now that I extended him, I see how it is. The top-selling jerseys in the NHL for February, dear Lord, were never in there, and now we have 5 guys. Wolf Payment is 1st, Peter Stastny is 2nd, Paul Coffey is 4th, Anton Stastny is 8th, and Darren Veitch is 12th. What in tarnation is going on? Right, Bob Fraze has been put on the block by the Blues. Chris Adolphson has been put on the block as well. There was a trade between the Red Wings and the Flyers. Jerry Hart for Lindsey Carson. A very small trade. Kings are offering us Vaclav Sebek for Rick Aduano. Oh, Vaclav Sebek. Well, he's able to play at the NHL level. He's never played in the league in real life, but he's a lot younger. He's 19. I think I'm gonna make this trade. I mean, he has a couple 14s here. Yeah, I think so. I think I'm making this trade, folks. So Rick Aduano has served us well, but he's going to be traded to LA for Vaclav Sebek, who is 19 and has some interesting ratings. So yeah, come on, buddy. And I'm gonna keep him in the lineup. I'm gonna go and check again to make sure that now that he's on my team, that like his ratings are what they were. Big Mount, Brad Maxwell, and John Davidson, both of the North Stars are the players of the month. So I guess the North Stars had a really good game, a really good month. Alright, so Rick Aduono is not with us anymore, but now we have Vaclav Sebek. Well, that's still his ratings. I'm not disappointed with that trade at all. Oh, do I need to extend him? Is that the catch? Yeah, I need to. Ah, the good old bug. Good old bug. I don't want to be an offensive forward for you. If you want for me to be an offensive forward, it's going to cost you because I really want to be an offensive forward. I'm going to lose that player because this game is a little clunky sometimes. Dude, if you just want more money, you just have to say, I want more money. This is frustrating. No, he doesn't want to. No, he doesn't really want to negotiate with me anymore. Maybe he's gonna be happier if I do it that way. No. Oh dear God. Well, that was shit. Thank you for this. That was really nice. All right. All right. So it's March 1st. We are second in the conference, first in our division. Let's see. Oh, the Nordiques have surpassed the Canadians. The Nordiques are 7 points behind us, so we're starting to have a little bit of a separation. Here, we just need to continue winning some games. Excuse me. Let's take a look. Alright, so the worst team in the league is the Kings, and as we saw, they have started to pile up on some draft picks, so that's pretty good. Let's take a look at our stats. So our best player is Mark Messier, 80 points in 64 games, Stashny 75 in 63, Payment 72 in 58, Agman 68 in 64, Gordy Roberts 54 in 59, Veitch 48 in 61, doing pretty good, and then it goes down from there, so we're looking pretty good. Paul Coffey, of course, has missed a lot of time, but he has 28 points in 22 games. He is above a point per game, as we would expect, and in the entire league, the best goal scorer is Dino Ciccarelli with 58 goals, followed very closely by Wayne Gretzky with 57. Denis Savard is the best passer, 68 assists. Best point getter is Gretzky with 120 points. Ciccarelli is only 6 points behind with 114. Then it drops considerably like 22-point drop with Bill Derlago. All right. Gonna go ahead and save the game. So we got fleeced. I traded Rick Aduono for absolutely no reason because now I cannot even do nothing with that guy. He won't even... He's bugged. That's what's going on. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and end this here today. So as usual, folks, I would like to thank you for tuning in, especially Kel for keeping me company while he is, I believe, also playing Franchise Hockey Manager. And yeah, if you're catching this on YouTube and that you like the video, you know what to do. And until next time, see ya, Kel, as well.